Okay. Well, welcome everybody. We are very happy to be hosting today's workshop. We have an amazing set of experts today, in both sides, so in the presenting part and in the attendees side. So I hope that you will enjoy this session we have for today about assessing multi-cycle sustainable buildings. We are still admitting some people who are joining, but we need to keep going to stick to the agenda. So my name is Laura Pallares, and I'm going to be the moderator today. I'm the head of Europe at World Green Building Council, and we are participating in the Drastic project as well. So if we can go to the next slide. First, I would like to give you some housekeeping rules. The workshop today will be recorded. So if you don't want to have your camera on, please put it off. We will also encourage all the participants to use the chat, so you can say, who are you representing, which association company are you representing? It will be a really nice way to get to know each other. So please make sure you introduce yourself. And if you have any question, you can also put it on the chat. We'll try to answer some questions on the chat if we can live, but the agenda is quite tight. So if we don't have time today, we will come back to you with an email with the answer. So thank you so much in advance for your questions. So please make sure your microphones are muted during the main session, so we don't have any background noise. But later for the different breakout rooms, you are free to brainstorm and to speak. The moderators will give you the word when they consider convenient. And then if you have any technical problems, please send us an email to the office at worldgbc.org, and we'll try to help you as much as we can. So if we go to the next slide, I'll go through the agenda. So again, we have an amazing 2 hours prepared for you. I'm pretty sure you will enjoy as much as we did putting together the agenda also. So first, we will have an introduction of what is Drastic stands for, what are the aims and objectives of this 4-year project. And then we will be explaining you what is the workshop about and what the results we want to aim for today, the objectives we have. Then we will split the group into breakout sessions. We will come back, report, and do a bit of analysis. Then we will send you again to other 2 breakout sessions. So we will have 2 rounds in total. And later we will do a recap of these breakout sessions and explain you the next steps and closing. So I hope you are ready for that and you have a lot of energy this morning. So if we go to the next slide, here I would like to introduce you the people who will be helping you today during this workshop and moderation. So as I said, my name is Laura Pallares, I'm the head of Europe, and we have a network with more than 80 green building councils around the world. And we do a lot of projects and a lot of advocacy work and a lot of interesting things related to circularity, especially like a project today, Drastic. But let me introduce you the 3 amazing experts we have today. First, it's Caroline Spirings. She works as a project manager in the research unit Smart Energy and Built Environment at Vito, which is part of Energyville. At the moment, Caroline works with sustainability and circularity assessments within the built environment. She has also been involved in the performance of different LCAs and PEF, LCC, sustainability assessment and circularity assessment projects. And she's also a member of the steering committee of the Belgian Environment Product Declaration Program. So, I mean, I could go on and on because she has an amazing career, but you will get the chance to hear her later because she will be introducing the project. Later, we will have Joana dos Santos Gonçalves, who is a researcher on circularity, again, in the built environment at Vito. And she's working in a team dealing with sustainability and circularity assessments in the built environment. And currently, Joanna is coordinating Drastic, which is investigating the potential of the whole life cycle greenhouse emissions reductions, increased circularity and sufficiency of innovative building product solutions. And last but not least, we have Wai Chung Lam, and her role, she focuses on construction-related projects, such as life cycle assessment of building and the further development of the building evaluation framework, MGG, also known as the underlying method of the Belgian building assessment tool. And also, Wei Chung works on projects concerning eco-design and design for change circular building, which is also our project under the Horizon 20 called Iceberg. So that were the introductions, but I think the best way to hear about them will be giving them the floor. They will be running you through these amazing 2 hours. And I said, I hope that you enjoy. And Caroline, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Laura, for your kind introduction, and also welcome to everyone for joining today. It's a pleasure for me, of course, to introduce you to the Drastic project. And you can go to the next slide, because Drastic, what it is about. Well, literally, it means a significant change or an action that has a profound effect. And actually, that's also the acronym of our project, which you can see here on the slide, demonstrating real, affordable, sustainable building solutions with top-level whole life cycle performance and improved circularity. That's exactly what we want to do in the project. We want to show that circularity and sufficiency can be a strategy or strategies to move to a more sustainable built environment by showing the benefits and by also showing that they can help to create a positive impact. You can go to the next slide, Wai Chung. I'm sorry. It's a project, it's an Horizon Europe project under the Cluster 5 umbrella, focusing on more sustainable buildings with a reduced embodied energy and carbon, with high life cycle performance and reduced life cycle cost under the umbrella of Build for People. It started last year in October, and it will last for 4 years. So the end is foreseen in September 2027. It's coordinated by Vito, and Laura already explained a bit about our organization. Vito stands for the Flemish Institute for Technological Research, and it's the team within Vito that is dealing with sustainability assessments and circularity assessments that is actively involved in this project and doing the coordination. Vito, for the people that do not know yet our organization, our mission is actually to make the transition to a more sustainable world happening. And we are organized in, well, in order to do so, we are organized in 3 different domains: sustainable resource economy, sustainable living and building, of course, climate adaptation and mitigation. And by combining the 3, we really want to create a positive impact. We want to show that it can help to make the move or the transition to a more sustainable world. We are not doing that on our own. That's why, if you go back again, I just want to explain that with Vito, we are not acting on our own. So it's important in all our projects that we closely work together with a lot of stakeholders, with market players from the industry, with policymakers, with society. We want to share our knowledge, and it's also important to, of course, include or involve finance and media, because we want to show and we want to make sure that we are visible in the outside world. And that's why we, as Vito, we are coordinating this project. If you go to the next slide, together with 22 other partners from 8 countries, from Belgium, the Netherlands, Sweden, France, Denmark, Estonia, Spain and Norway, and you can see all the organizations, well, you can see the logos here on these slides. Now, Drastic, in a nutshell, pretty much in a nutshell, because we do not have time to show you all the details, but I'm willing to explain a bit what it is about. If you click, it's about It's about showing that by introducing circular economy approaches, by introducing approaches with regard to sufficiency, we can come to a more reduced environmental impact in newly construction projects, also in retrofitting construction projects. And also showing that by including these strategies, it can also lead to a financial and economic advantage. We will demonstrate that. So we have 5 demonstrators, and I will show them in a minute. We will show you that these circular solutions are leading to a reduced environmental impact and that they are also affordable. And we will show that in different geographical zones, different building layers. We also consider different materials and different building typologies. And important, and that's why this workshop is really focusing on, is that to do this evaluation, to see if we are taking the right decisions from a sustainability point of view, we want to go beyond the, let's say, more current state of play with regard to life cycle assessment, life cycle costing, sustainability assessments. We consider these current state of plays as too linear. We want to include more the different circles, and that's why we want to develop in Drastic a multi-cyclic guidance and performance assessment framework. If you click again, important also is that we want to go away from manual work. So we want to make life easier for all actors, all stakeholders. So we will develop a common digital platform where different digital tools are connected, tools that can help you in traceability tools that can help you to do the assessments, the environmental assessments, the socio-economic assessments, etc. And then finally, of course, this Drastic project really aligns with European objectives to move to more sustainable buildings, and to also make sure that the solutions that we will demonstrate will also increase the market uptake. It's important to show that these innovative technologies can work in reality, that these new business models can really gain positive impacts. 5 demonstrators. We do not really have time to show you all the details, so pretty much in a nutshell, the first one is a demonstrator which is located in Norway, where the focus will be on reclaimed wood, so structural wood that will be reused and recycled. The second one is in Estonia, led by Timecodes, where the focus will be on wooden prefab elements in combination with BIPV solutions. The third one in Germany, led by Weber, where they will focus on circular insulation packages, the ethics. Then the fourth one is in France, led by Saint-Gobain, where we will show the circular use of ceiling plates and indoor partitioning walls. And the last one is in Spain, where it is about reusing of steel elements. How are we organized? Well, there are some specific objectives, of course, that we want to meet. We want to guide with Drastic the development of these circular innovative solutions. We want to make sure that they are rolled out. So we want to enable the rollout or the replication. We want to facilitate the implementation, ensure that it's taken up by the markets, and of course build awareness, all to make sure that we meet some expected outcomes. And you see that on the right side of the slide. We want to increase a traceable reduction of greenhouse gas emissions of buildings, make sure it's fast taken up by the market by demonstrating it, that it can be to come together with reduced life cycle impacts, environmental impacts, but also economical costs that can be reduced, and mainstream the affordable life cycle performance and circularity. And in order to meet these specific objectives together with the expected outcomes, we have organized ourselves according to 6 main work packages. The first one is pretty much straightforward, the project management and coordination, which is taking up or led by Vito. Then a second work package also led by Vito. It's to develop this multi-cyclic guidance and performance assessment framework. And that's actually the core of this workshop of today. The third work package is the work package where the demonstrators will take place. So each demonstrator will first do a circular product development and demonstrate it at the building level. That work package is led by Saint-Gobain. Then the fourth work package, it's about the digitalization. It's about creating a digital platform, make sure that all the tools are connected and that the tools are available to all the participants and later on can be easily replicated and upscaled to the entire of Europe. The fifth work package, it's led by the University of Maastricht. It's about an ecosystem creation because each demonstrator is located in a specific ecosystem with different actors, different stakeholders, and it's important to clearly understand that ecosystem in order to develop some circular business models. And then finally, of course, the work package 6, which is led by the World Green Building Council, Laura and her team. It's about dissemination, communication, exploitation. That's pretty much in a nutshell. So I'm happy now that we have this workshop of today, where we would like to introduce you already into this guidance and performance assessment framework. As I already explained a bit, we would like to go beyond the current ways of assessing the environmental performance, assessing the economical performance. We want to include the strategies related to circularity, the strategies related to sufficiency into these frameworks. So we would like to end with a kind of a multi-cyclic life cycle assessment framework, a multi-cyclic life cycle costing framework, ideally including already some circularity aspects and some sufficiency aspects. If it's not possible to include, we would like to develop some additional methodologies or some additional KPIs with regard to circularity and sufficiency. And of course, your input will be really valuable. It's the first time that we will explain a bit the state of play with regard to this new guidance and performance assessment framework, but we are really looking forward to your feedback because we want to make and have a kind of a carried framework where all your input will be very valuable. That's all in a nutshell. I will hand over now to, I think, Wai Chong. You will introduce the participants to the goal of this workshop.
Yeah, I will also provide some of the content as background information and also briefly present the results of a state-of-the-art analysis together with Joanna. So first, on the goal of this workshop, we want to take the next steps in co-developing the assessment and guidance framework. We have collected already quite some information on multi-cycle sustainability, circularity, sufficiency, and other related indicators to assess buildings and building products. Of course, we are a small team, but and so we appreciate the input from other stakeholders and the perspective that we can all integrate in our framework. Yeah, nothing is set in stone yet. It's still a work in progress. And as mentioned, we want to enhance the quality of our assessment and guidance framework. The related project deliverable, and the outcome of the tasks that we are currently doing, and also what the goal, the results of the workshop will be included in is, as mentioned, a design and guidance framework based on the multi-cycle sustainability and circularity assessments on product and building level. So as the name already mentions, this should be a design and assessment guidelines for the different demo cases that will be developed within the project and will be assessed also during the project. And in the end, it will be a public framework, so hopefully other parties will also be interested to use our framework. It should allow comparison between different scenarios. So within the project, we will compare business as usual solutions with the solutions that are developed within the demo cases. We want to guide them in identifying and remediation on potential hotspots to further improve and optimize their designs and solutions. And it's mainly targeting in the end on architects, real estate developers, and building product developers, and also for assessors on environmental impacts. Then briefly on the state of the art, so for some general considerations. So one, as already also mentioned, we noticed that linear LCA and LCC is common practice. LCA, according to the EN 15804 A2 for construction products, is implemented a lot currently by a lot of product developers. There are a lot of European programs on EPD systems, and also currently recently with the revision of the CPR, the Construction Product Regulation, we know that from 2025, it's mandatory to declare the global warming potential based on LCA of the EN 15804. And by 2029, even all impact categories, core impact categories of the EN 15804 need to be clear in the declaration of performance of a product. And I think in 2035, even also the additional impact categories needs to be declared. We also notice that the multi-cyclic LCA and LCC still needs the development, but the question that we have, and maybe you also have, is multi-deal the way to go? There are some merits on the module D, and we also like to discuss this with you in one of the breakout rooms. And we also notice that multi-cycle effects depends on different factors, on the level of circularity, on the level of sufficiency, the resilience, and different kind of scenarios. If you assume a different scenario, you will get different results, of course. And we also notice that current focus is on the lower R levels, like recycling, that have relatively low environmental benefits. And then a slide on the state of the art regarding the LCA. So the current state, as mentioned, it's a single cycle linear LCA. And yeah, there are different end-of-life allocation methods, like the method within the EN 15804, where you have the 100-0 allocation, but you have also like the PEF allocation with different division of the percentages within the circular footprint formula. And as mentioned, there's a variety of scenarios, specifically in the use stage, but also in the demolition stage and module G. Sometimes we get quite some questions from manufacturers on how to declare module G. It's often a difficult one. Regarding the desired future state, what we see is to integrate a multi-cycle perspective, preferably within module G somehow, if we want to stick to the EN 15804, as it's already commonly used a lot, and also with respect to the CPR revision, that it will be mandatory to declare according to the EN 15804. And we would like to shift from end of life to end of cycle. That's a way that we see to a possibility to have those multi-cycle perspective integrated. And preferably we would like to align the scenarios to assess per assessment level the different scenarios. So we somehow it's all it's easier also for non-LCA practitioners to read the different scenarios and what is declared within an EPD. We also visualized a bit on the state of the art. You have the different life cycle stages of information modules according to the EN 15804. You have the A and the B and the C and the D. Currently in the module G, it's mainly focusing on the first next life cycle. In order to have the multi-cycle perspective integrated, you should also include the second and the third and the next life cycle in the assessment. You could link those life cycles to the our circular economy strategies. As mentioned, currently the focus mainly on recycling or maybe even remanufacturing, but it's on the lower level of the R ladder. We see that we should shift from the lower levels to a higher levels in order to gain sufficiency within the products or yeah. And yeah, there are different strategies, the different scenarios to apply to get to those strategies in the different life cycle stages. And that brings me to the slides on sufficiency. I would like to give the floor to Joanna.
Thank you very much, Wai-Chung. So indeed, as you just showed in the slide before, we see that the higher levels of sufficiency can be achieved with also higher levels of our strategies. So what do we mean when we talk about sufficiency? We start with a working definition based on Yamina Saheb and the IPCC report, as strategies that avoid demand for energy, materials, land, and water, while delivering human well-being for all within planetary boundaries. But the question is, what does this mean for the built environment in specific? How can we guide built environment solutions that avoid this demand for resources? So what we did was a literature review, considering, so looking for sufficiency in specific for the context of construction and the built environment, together with indicators that would allow us to guide the solutions. We identified, it's still a niche sector, so we identified 21 publications. And what we noticed in these publications is that there is a strong focus on energy, so energy sufficiency and energy behaviors, with 17% of these publications, and also in occupancy, so intensifying the use of buildings or reducing the floor area per person. But at resource level, there is an overlap of these indicators with indicators for circularity. So the question that we bring today to this workshop and that we would like to discuss with you is which indicators can be used to guide higher levels of sufficiency at product and building level. And in here, I would like to highlight the higher levels of sufficiency, because as you saw in the definition, sufficiency is avoiding demand. So in principle, we should avoid products in the first place, but is not always possible. So what we want to achieve is, even if we have to produce something, even if we have to continue building, how can we do it at the higher level of sufficiency? And I think that is the cue to move to the breakout rooms. Yeah.
Welcome back. I hope that your session was, Joanna, you are muted. I hope that your session was interesting, but at some point I had to bring you all in. So I leave the floor to you, I think, Joanna, if you are sharing your slides.
I will share. Will you? I will share it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Wai-Chung.
If I find the bottom, there's too many windows open. I'm sorry. Share screen. Yes. Okay, I will go to the next slide then. Oh, share.
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible. Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so now we are setting the stage for the next breakout rooms, where we will be discussing circularity and life cycle cost methodology. Starting with the circularity, we just had a very interesting discussion about sufficiency and how these R levels relate to sufficiency. So when discussing circularity, I would really like to start from this definition that refers to circularity as to not unnecessarily destroy resources. And I think this is very clearly linked with the definition of sufficiency presented before. And something I find interesting in this definition too is that we need to keep in mind that circular economy is far more than the reduction of waste through recycling. But in our literature review, that if you, Wai-Chung, if you could please go to the next slide. In the scope of this project, we performed a literature review on the topic of circularity, construction in buildings in built environment, and indicators, measures, or assessment to understand how this circularity can be assessed in buildings. And in 948 publications that we identified, you can see that waste and recycling and this linear LCA approach are still the most common methods referred to. So you see here a bit of clustering of the key topics. You see demolition waste with a preponderant role, recycled aggregates, recycled materials as a key topic that still appears in this circularity perspective. So if you can please go to the next slide. And when we filter from these 948 results, if we exclude qualitative assessments, and we excluded also in relation to the scope of our project, urban scale and organizational scale indicator frameworks, we identify 76 quantitative indicator frameworks to assess circularity in buildings. And this demonstrates a bit a big diversity, but also a lack of consensus that doesn't make it easier for practitioners to really implement and understand what is circularity about and what should be covered. What we identify also in these quantitative indicator frameworks is that they tend to be partial, so covering only one aspect of circularity often. So for instance, frameworks about disassembly, frameworks about reuse, frameworks about adaptability, but not with an overall perspective. And we see also a main focus on future circularity. For instance, designing for disassembly in the future or designing for adaptability in the future, but not the current circularity achieved. And another aspect that we identified is that these circularity methods are often not factoring differences between the different R strategies. So we know that recycling is not the same as reusing and doesn't have the same environmental benefit, but often this is considered at the same level in these indicator frameworks. So what we would like to discuss with you in this second breakout room in the topic of circularity, how can the current circularity indicators guide higher R strategies, or if there are gaps in these indicators to cover the different R strategies presented before. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Joanna.
Looking forward.
Then a slide on the state of the art on LCC, similar to the LCA. It's focused on a single cycle, a linear life cycle. We noticed that within the construction industry, the focus is on total cost of ownership. So only on the cost part. We would like to see, like the LCA, to integrate a multi-cycle perspective. One of the main questions we have, like how to estimate the residual value. It's quite a difficult aspect. Would we want to add external cost, but how would we deal with uncertainty of those external costs? That's often one of the comments on the adding external costs. It increases the uncertainty of your results. What about? And there's also a lack of consensus of how on the factors of external costing, and is linking to environment impact pricing a way to go. For instance, carbon pricing, it's commonly applied. would we like a pricing framework for all different environmental impacts that are can be calculated with an LCA. So that's on the content for the next breakout room rounds. So a room on circularity indicators and a room on multi-cycle LCC. Is everyone back?
I think slowly, yes. I think all the other rooms should be closed, so you can continue with the slides.
Is Joanna there?
Yes, she is there.
Yes.
I'm here.
I will share my screen. Yeah, I don't have, for the recap, I don't have a slide prepared. Of course, I don't know beforehand what the discussions would be. I hope I can reflect a bit upon the LCA and the LCC breakout sessions, and Joanna, you will do the sufficiency and the circularity. Of course, this we didn't have time in between to really make connection, but based on what I experienced in the breakout rooms, that within the LCA it was easier to provide inputs on the questions that we had. In the LCC session, we had quite similar questions like on the LCA, but it was more difficult to reflect upon it. There were some interesting ideas on how to develop the LCC framework. And in the LCA discussions, there is a lot of ongoing. We noticed on different levels, also within CENTC 350, there are a lot of stuff ongoing, and it would be nice if we can see how the developments can be linked with our project results. So that's very briefly. I don't know if Annabelle, maybe do you have some more reflections on the LCA LCC sessions?
Yeah, definitely there's a strong element of uncertainty because we're talking about costs, because we're talking far into the future. So there's that strong element. But there's definitely the need to consider costs and benefits related to the impacts of using raw material, for example, and then costs and benefits from moving towards recovery. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's all.
Maybe Joanna, if you
Yes, thank you.
Minutes.
Yeah, we had interesting discussions on sufficiency and circularity, a bit the interlinkages between both. I think for me there are three main takeaways that can help us develop our guidance framework that I would like to share with everyone. And the first one is that we need clear definitions. What is an element? What is a component? What is a product? So that everyone understands this framework in the same way, and that our different users that will be implementing it can really work with it in a clear manner. And another very important takeaway is in relation to the R levels. So, well, at first they are not always clear, defined, and easy to remember what each one of them stands for. But also that is related with the first part on the definitions. But also very important is to start from the higher levels, so that if we are going to create a guidance framework, we start from refuse and rethink, and then only gradually go down in this scale when recycle is the least desirable one. Is still better than nothing, but ideally we need to guide it in a gradual manner. And some other important takeaway is that there are indicators that are not easily positioned in the different R levels or even in the different scales, because they are important across scales, and they allow to measure the different R strategies. And I think that is important for us to identify these critical indicators, because they are probably the more priority ones. So are the ones that will allow us to measure these solutions across the different levels. Yeah. So for now, for today, that was it. We are looking
Okay.
forward to now work with these suggestions that you gave us and implement it in the framework.
I think the refuse level is an interesting one. So we also within an LCA session we had a question how to include refuse. So that's something that we really need to consider how to address that one. To the next slide, if I can find the
All right. So first of all, I would like to thank all the participants for joining the workshop, also for actively be involved in the discussions in the breakout rooms. I understand it's a challenging topic. We knew it already. We still know it. Today we are not yet there, including circularity and sufficiency in an overall sustainability assessment framework that should be easy to be applied at different levels, like Joanna explained, the product level, component, element, building level. It is a challenge, and we might have overwhelmed you a bit today, but I suggest please take your time to reflect upon this workshop and feel free to share any additional insights. Maybe you can already go to the next slide, Wai Chong. This can be done either through an email to preferably to colleague Wai Chung Lam, and you will see her address here on the slide. Or you can also use, and I'm not sure if it was mentioned by Laura in one of the breakout sessions or in the plenary, but you can still use the Miro boards. They will still be available for all of you. Feel free to take your time to have a look again and to use the sticky notes to add some additional comments, or in the framework of the last, the breakout room on the circularity, use one of the participants' boards and do your exercise when you have a bit more time. In a relaxed moment. If you are willing to share additional feedback, do that before the 15th of May. It's important for us because we have a formal deliverable in this framework where we need to make this overall or write this design guidance framework by the 25th of July. We have to submit it to the European Commission. We also need to go through some internal review processes. So that's why the 15th of May is really our ultimate deadline for you to receive any further feedback. This report will be a public report. So as soon as the Commission approves it in the summer, we will make it publicly available and we can share it with all of you. And then on the next slide, for those who want to know more about the Drastic project, have a look at our website or subscribe to the Drastic mailing list so that we will keep you, if you subscribe to that mailing list, you will automatically be updated with new workshops that we are planning in the course of this Drastic project, or new announcements, or if we have nice publications, we will share it with all of you. So that's all from my side. Up to Laura now.
Yes, so just to remind everybody that we will be sending the slides shared during the session. We will also be posting and share with you the recording of the plenary session, not the breakout sessions. We will send you the Miro board, so you can still have time to, as Caroline was saying, provide feedback of anything came to your mind. Just please, you can write it. We will create a copy so that we still have the original one, and we will also be sending you a small survey to see if that was interesting or not. And just to say thank you for participating. It was very important to us that you were joining us today. So we hope that you find the session clear, and if not, we will do better next time. I think, as Caroline mentioned, there might be some overwhelming because we presented a lot of very technical information today, but we'll get there. Let me check. So I'm reading the. Oh, I'd say that Dieter is asking if we can send also specific questions that we won't answer for the 15th of May. So maybe with that follow-up email, we can send a couple of questions, and whoever feels like answering, they're going to be very welcome. And that's it from our side. So thank you very much for participating today, and we will be sending you the information soon. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.